Todd. My name is Dan Morcivillo. I live in Palos Heights. When does Palos Township open up?
Hi, Dan. Thanks for coming. We do not know yet. We're still waiting. We're dependent on the Cook County Assessors Office to give us what we call certified values. There's been some difficulty on the assessor level and in regards to technology. So everything's kind of everything's slowed down here by a few months. So not really sure. That's where I advocate really for pre-filing, especially in times like this where you don't know it's going to open. I think the next group that's going to open as far as southern areas is probably going to be Orland Township is going to be opening soon. But I have no indication of what Palos will be.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Susan.
My question is, do you have to submit through the Cook County Assessor's Office first and then go to the Board of Review if that is denied, or am I confused?
No, that's a great question. And I usually address that. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. You do not have to file at the assessor to file at the Board of Review. To be successful with an appeal at the assessor is really difficult. And remember what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the assessor's numbers. So unless they committed an error, they're likely going to stand on their values. So it's really hard to win appeals at the assessor. I think it's about a 5% success rate at the assessor. By all means, you can file there. You don't have to. A lot of people choose just to bypass the assessor and they come right to the Board of Review. And incidentally, at the Board of Review, it's about a 50% success rate historically. So it's, you can see the value there. There's a third level of appeal though. It's called PTAB, which is the Property Tax Appeal Board. It's a state agency. If you want to take it to PTAB, it's required that you had filed an appeal at the Board of Review first. So some people, they don't file at the assessor, they forget to file at the Board of Review and they want to go to PTAB. PTAB, one of the requirements is that you would file at the Board of Review first. It's in the property tax code. So if you want to take it to PTAB, you need to file at the Board of Review.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thanks for coming tonight.
In May or June, I filed my appeal on previous year's taxes to the assessor, county assessor.
Okay.
I still not received a response back from them so that I can file with you. You know why the delay and when it will be answered?
Unfortunately, I do not know the status of that appeal there, but I would not let that hold you back from filing at the Board of Review. In fact, I would not wait for their answer. You may not get an answer. They're having some technical issues there. So I know a lot of people would like to wait, but it's likely that there's a possibility that Palos Township may open and close before you get that letter. So I would say don't wait because it may be too late by the time you get it anyway. So just be proactive and file at the Board of Review.
Okay, will you be sending a letter to us when Palos Hills or Palos Township is open?
Only if you subscribe to either our email list or our text message list. That's the only way we know how to get a hold of people. Other than that, you could talk to the assessor Maloney's office, and they could put you on a list to contact, I believe. Is Assessor Maloney still here?
Yes, I am.
How could this gentleman get on like a notification list when Palos Township opens with your office, Assessor?
Well, he can come into our office and we'll help him with that.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I am on your email list. That's how I got this here. I have previously filed through the regular online appeal to you, so I should be there on your list. I assume I will get it, but I will also check with the Palos Township person. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on that list then. So yeah, you'll get a notification. Assessor Maloney's office will send it out. There's a couple questions in here that I'll address real quick. And people, this happened last night when we did an outreach last night, and there was a woman who, her mortgage, there's an escrow in her mortgage. So when the property taxes go up, her mortgage payment goes up in kind. And she didn't really pay attention to it or notice it, I guess is the right word. And didn't realize that she was reassessed and had been reassessed 2 years ago. You know, it just kind of snuck up on her, I think. So you gotta, when you get a letter from the bank that says your escrow is changing, your payments changing, it's because your property taxes went up. So make sure you're paying attention to that. One of the comments on here was, just the increase in property taxes lately is hurting a lot of people. And I understand that. I'm a property owner in Cook County, and it's unfortunate. It's only goes up. It doesn't go down ever. But that's because of there's the taxing districts in your district. The taxing bodies in your district drive that. It's not so much your home value. Your home value just creates that pie. So the county knows how much you're responsible for, but it's really driven by your local taxing bodies. So that's where you have to get involved in those taxing bodies and ask them, hey, why are you spending so much money? Why do you need to increase 3 or 4 or 5% every year your levies? Because that's what happens. And I touched on that, where your assessed value may not change, but your property taxes go up every year. And think about it from the standpoint of your fire districts and your library districts and your municipalities. A lot of these agencies are locked into contracts, and these contracts have built-in increases, cost of living increases. So even if everything remained status quo, your taxes are going to go up because cost of living is going to go up every year, and they have to honor those contracts. So the board of review, the assessor, we don't determine how much you owe. We just determine how much of the pie you're responsible for. There's a lot of these things that happen during these seminars. People are afraid to bring up maybe some private information, some individual stories. So that's why this contact information is really important. You can reach out to us individually, or our group, our District 1 group, and we can help you on specific issues. So feel free to reach out, after this call, or tomorrow, or anytime in the future. We're here to help you. All right, let me just read this, a couple more here. Hello, I am a homeowner in Palos Park as well. I want a reduction in spring of 21, but immediately lost it in the fall of 21. Can you speak to the case like this? Well, the spring of 21 was likely the last year of your assessment. So that was probably 2020 or 2019. And I'm thinking in 20 was the new assessment for the south suburb, Palos Park included. So likely you got a reassessment. And I touched on this earlier. What we do is only good for a 3-year window, and then it kind of starts over again. Not that you can't file an appeal every year, but every 3 years it's going to start, the assessor is going to either increase or decrease your assessment, likely won't stay the same. And we know from what's going on in the market that these next few rounds are probably going to be, continue to increase property values. Last year, the assessor did take off 10 or 8 to 12% for COVID reductions. I think in Palos Township, it was closer to 9.5 or 10%. How is that going to look when they reassess again the South in 2023? Are they going to have to recapture all of that and then some? So that remains to be seen. But that's why appealing is so important, especially on that first year of your reassessment. Sandra is asking, how do you apply for a senior exemption? So senior exemption, you have to be 65 years of age, and the exemptions are all handled by the assessor's office. So you'd have to get a hold of the assessor's office. I believe you can apply for the senior exemption online. There's also what's called a senior freeze. If your household income is less than 65,000, that has to be verified every year. The assessor can help you with those exemptions. They can help you apply for them. So you go to Assessor Maloney's office, and he can help you apply for those and see what you're eligible for. At the very least, you should be getting a homeowner's exemption, hopefully only on one property. Don't try to get it on more than one property. The assessor is going after those cases pretty pretty aggressively. Homeowner exemption, you do not have to apply every year. If you purchase a home though, you have to apply initially, let them know. You have to ask for it, but you won't have to reapply every year, so.
When you win an appeal at your level, why, as you said, the next year you lose it? When your new assessment comes in, they automatically use, at least in my cases in the past, the highest comps that are in my classification. They don't use by appeal win, which some of them have been for $60,000 to $80,000. So these are big wins that I've taken all the way through to your level. One of them, and immediately at the next assessment, they're increased by 10, 15, 20% with the comps. And this is mainly, I have to go back and recomp those that I used in the original one. It's a waste of your time and my time.
Yeah, I agree. So just so I follow you correctly, this happens when you get reassessed, right? Every 3 years?
Correct.
Okay. That's just kind of the nature of property taxes in the assessor. So that's why it's so important to file that first year of reassessment and get it carried over. But yeah, you can, in most instances, property is going to increase in value. So if you win an appeal in year 1, your house is likely worth more in year 3, even though you get the year 1 assessed value. So really you're being reassessed in year 4. Just keeping up with inflation and things like that, there's a good likelihood that your property is going to be worth more. Now, that's not always the case. There's, as we all hear time and again, it's location, location, location. So real estate does change. And that's why I advocate for people to file an appeal every year. Even if you win the first year of your reassessment, it shouldn't dissuade you from filing again, because something's going to change. Everything in the property tax world is what we call an opinion of value. Unless you built that house right now today and you put it up in one day, we don't know what the true cost is. As soon as a house is built, it starts depreciating. Day 2, a house is worth less than day 1 from a cost standpoint. Maybe not a value standpoint. So it changes. It changes rapidly in some areas. Some areas it doesn't change so fast. So I think in your case, you were either in an area that the real estate became hot or inflated since the last time it had been reassessed. You just have to keep reassessing it. Is it a waste of time? Not if you're winning. It's not a waste of time if you're winning.
Okay, I have filed every year since 1984, every assessment, and I probably have won 80% of the time, basically based on going to the Board of Review. So I file twice every time there's a reassessment, and I'm still continually when inflation goes up 2 or 3%, they go up 20% to the highest ones for those people who have not appealed. So they've never appealed on their property, and it just keeps going up and up. And that's the ones they're comparing me to, not to other people who have appealed.
Right. That happens in every neighborhood. I see that, and I kind of scratch my head and wonder why that person never appealed. Either they're uninformed, they don't care. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the motivation is for people to not appeal. So yeah, there's always going to be those people on your block that create the outliers. And that's why when we do the analysis, we kind of throw out the really high ones, we throw out the really low ones. We want you to be somewhere in the middle. If you're somewhere in the middle, I think you're fairly assessed. Everyone wants to be the lowest on the block. I mean, I would love to be. I just don't want to be in the top third. If I'm in the lower 2/3 of my neighborhood, I think I'm fairly assessed. And that's kind of the direction I give people. James, I am 65 last year. How can I claim a senior exemption? Again, James, the easiest thing for you to do would be to go to the township assessor, Palos. It's on Roberts Road. Assessor Maloney, what's the address?
10802 South Roberts Road.
10802 Roberts Road. Lovely staff there. You can go talk to them. Is it by appointment, assessor, or can they walk in?
We take walk-ins as well.
Okay,
However, as far as exemptions go, I just want to point out is we're still waiting for those forms to come in,
oh, okay.
exemption forms. Okay.
Typically, when do you get those forms?
Well, we usually get them, after the first of the year, but there's been kind of a delay, a pushback, according to my assistant. They haven't come in.
Oh, I just saw that they'll be available in March. Thank you, Heather. Didn't see that. So stay tuned. Once the forms get out there, then you can go apply for your exemptions. And the senior exemption is a really important one. The senior freeze is even a larger, even a better one in some cases, not all the time. But people, there's a confusion on the senior exemption. It's $65,000 household income. So that's everyone in your house that's earning an income.
Hi, Todd. This is Heather from Palos Township. How are you?
Hi, Heather.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. Usually, county, gets the exemption forms for the new tax year out like mid-January for the disabled veterans and disabled persons. They come out in February, but this year they told us March for new applicants, and for whatever you had last year, it will auto renew this year again because of COVID. So they should be getting letters letting them know that from county, probably February or March. So whatever they had last year will auto renew for this year, unless you're a new applicant. So if you were a senior born in 1956 or before that, then you can apply this upcoming tax year.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm just looking at a couple more things coming in here. Jeff, I saw you get lawyer offices sending you mailers every year. No, because lawyers can file at the Board of Review, so they're perfectly legally able to do that. You hiring them is up to you. They have different fee structures. Sometimes they're a percentage, sometimes they're a flat fee. That's just, that's the process. You don't have to hire them though. You can do it all yourself. You have a lot of agencies that will help you. The assessor's office, our office. Homeowners filing on their own are slightly more successful than attorneys filing for homeowners. Not commercial, these are for homeowners. So by all means, file on yourself. And then you asked if you can include a recent appraisal from a failed refi to prove value. The thing with refi appraisals is they're not what we call for ad valorem purposes. And that's for tax purposes. So a refi appraisal doesn't hold the same amount of weight as an ad valorem appraisal that is just done for property tax purposes. It's one piece of evidence you can include, but it's not the end all say all, because again, the values are what we call an opinion. It's all an opinion. It's our opinion. It's your opinion. It's the appraiser's opinion. It's the assessor's opinion. It's all an opinion of value. That's why very few people are ever going to agree what a single piece of property is worth. Casey, I see your hand up. What do you have?
Hello, sir. This is Kishore, Casey. Basically, two questions I raised in the chat. One is like a block shopper and like a Cook County. One of the websites has all the personal information. Like if somebody searches, let's say a random guy with the full name, they can exactly pinpoint where my property address is and how much it was. Even if I want to keep it as a confidential within the family or friends, there's nothing confidential. And this is such a risk and security issue also. How to get this avoided? Because when we tried contacting some of us to this blog shopper and not Cook County, not Cook News, what they said is this: what the Cook County publishes it, and we go with whatever they do it. But we haven't seen the same information coming from like Zillow or Redfin or any of those sites.
Well, okay, Casey, let me. So first of all, as I said, everything in property tax world in Cook County is transparent. So it's not really as confidential as you think. There is no expectation of confidentiality when it comes to property taxes. Everybody can look at the recorder of deeds. They can see the actual closing documents. They can look at what your tax bills were if they go to the Cook County Treasurer's website. So there's none of this is confidential. We can see everybody's information, and that's just the way it is. And transparency is actually good for this point, because we want to make sure that there's that we know who's buying and selling property. So sales and values are fair. If that stuff wasn't transparent, we wouldn't know if sales were arm's length. So this keeps the whole system kind of honest. I don't know what Block Shopper is, and I don't know what North Cook News is. So I don't have any idea, what association they have and what information they have. That's outside my expertise. So I'm not going to comment on those.
We don't have any issue displaying all the purchase value property tax, but that's getting tied to an individual person showing up all the information. That's a concern. We don't have any issue with when the property was purchased, what's the value, what is the history of the property transactions and the taxes, no concerns at all. But getting tied to an individual person showing up all the information, that's a big concern.
Well, KC, but that's not my agency. I have no idea who they are and who controls them. So I don't know where they're getting their information from, but this is the wrong venue to address that. I have no idea what they are.
Okay, thank you, sir. Second question I have, I put it in the chat window. Again, most of the people, they work hard to get whatever this income,
KC,
right?
I addressed that as well. That's your taxing bodies you'd need to address with those. The Board of Review does not decide how much you owe in taxes. We only decide the pie that is distributed to you. So you need to go, you need to get involved in your taxing bodies to help with that part of it.
Okay, so is the Cook County going to help us give who the point of contacts? What's their contact information? Because none of us know how to reach them.
Well, it's on the second installment of your property tax bill. It'll have all your property tax, the taxing bodies that are receiving your money will be on that second installment bill. So whether it's your school district is usually the highest one, get involved, get on the school board, go to the meetings, ask them where they're spending the money, how they're spending the money. Get on your, go to your library meetings, go to your municipal meetings, and you need to start asking questions there. They're the ones driving the property tax bills.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure. Well, we went over a little bit here tonight. I'm gonna say a few final words here, and we'll end the night. I appreciate everyone showing up here. So the Cook County Board of Review is here for you. You pay our salaries. We were created to help. We were statutorily created to help you appeal your taxes. We are your appellate court. You may not always be happy with our decisions, but it's really important that our agency exists. So we eat, breathe, and drink and talk about property taxes all day long. We're a staff of about 150 total people. We have a very small budget relatively within the county, and but we have some of the best professionals, and we have a really professional staff here in the first district for Commissioner Wendt. So I appreciate your time. These are really important. I hope everyone here learned something and is available, and just know that we're available to help you in the future. The assessor's office is available to help you. The commissioners, Miller and Commissioner Morrison, thank you again for showing up tonight. Or having your people here. And until next time, thank you, be well, and take care. Thank you.